Have you felt betrayed in life? So, and I mean betrayed in terms of relationship, right? In one form or another, doesn't matter. And the truth is that when you answer that question, it's a very loaded question, because the very first thing that I did was to ask myself that have I betrayed anybody else and life in general, right? Including betrayed my own, myself, right? So I don't believe that anyone can say that we have never betrayed anyone, or we don't know anyone who didn't betray somebody else or a relationship or something. And that could be romantic, that could be business, that could be friendship, that could be in any context that you can think of, because at the end of the day, we are a social animal, and relationship is a foundation of our lives. That's who we are. And the fact that sometimes we need to look at it in a different way, the very first and foundational part of that is that we have to look at ourselves. That in that play, the play of betrayal, what role I play. I myself need to take responsibility for in whatever form that it is, because partly either by making a decision of doing things that we have made an error, or by not making a decision, which itself means that we made a decision and we either hurt ourselves or somebody else, and so on and so forth. When the betrayal happens on its own, it has no energy. But the energy behind the betrayal is that energy of expectation, is the hurt, is the feeling that your world has now changed more than what you expected, or that changed completely, that you never expected that. And that was your prior prediction and expectation that failed, and that created a betrayal. And that could be including in a romantic partner, divorce or separation or something like that. It's a very foundational part of that. Right? We usually say betrayal in that context anyways. We don't usually say in a business relationship, we say betrayal, or a friendship, really. Yeah, a little bit of a friendship, we do that. But the loaded word betrayal comes from the romantic relationship. And the idea that the person says, you betrayed me, that means that I'm carrying all the pain and all the resentment, and I'm going to put it on you because you betrayed me, and therefore I am responsible for nothing. I did everything perfectly. And you have to be very careful with that, because if I have to share my story very quickly, is that in my life, when that happens in one form or another, I realized that there were times where I betrayed my partner, in one form or another, in terms of, for example, I probably should have been more honest with her, straight up with her. I should have been more in terms of the sovereignty of her own world, where we are equal, in an equal partnership, that I would stay back and give her the encouragement, that saying that you can do this on your own, you don't need me, so that I don't have to continuously help you. And that's a form of betrayal, because that means that I disable my partner, and that's not good either. So you can see that betrayal can run through a huge gamut of different contexts, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, okay, my partner cheated on me or something like that. You know what I mean? So if you look at it in a sense, in a global sense, betrayal at the end is saying this, that what I thought that you were for me, you are not anymore. But there is a fundamental part that is so wrong with that statement, that you're saying that you betrayed me because what I expected you to do for me, you are not doing that anymore. But what makes us so great that we have to expect that from somebody else. If there is a mutual agreement, there is a mutual love, the mutual respect, and the person wants to share their lives, his or her life with each other, or his and his, or her and her, two people, then that's great. But that expectation is not an expectation, is almost like something that organically need to arrive. But if we are going to expect that once I am with you, you have to promise me, and I am going to expect and predict that nothing ever will go wrong, and you will always be happy with me with everything that I do, and that you are a perfect human being, more like a prophet than anything else. I mean, you will never make a mistake. Well, that's a total lie again. You see how many, in most of my videos, I really come back to that. We make these bullshit lies all the time to create our own world that doesn't exist. It doesn't. And then we suffer for it. We suffer in the deepest way. Well, we don't need to, because life is amazing if we just let go and be free and have no expectations. Don't get me wrong. Of course there is social contract. The social contract is that I am going to show up the way that I can, in the most honest and supportive way. And I expect, in a sense, that in a relationship, the hope is, the expectation is that you can meet me halfway. But that expectation is not an attachment to the relationship. That expectation is just that social contract. The same way that if somebody, when I go to a restaurant and somebody serves me, I say thank you to the server. That's what that is. She or he doesn't expect me to say thank you, but it is a social etiquette. That's what that is, right? We go to work, we put our time, and the expectation is that we're gonna get paid for it. That's a social contract that we have. Now, we don't get bent out of shape about it and go to the deep end. If we don't get paid, there are ways that we can deal with that, or we can just walk away and find another. But the attachment is the problem, not the actual expectation. So I expect that, for example, when my brother comes to town, perhaps he wants to spend maybe half an hour with me, right? Now, that expectation is more like a hopeful thing, right? But the moment I put that expectation on my family or friend or colleague or whoever, to a point that by not having that, I'm gonna feel anxiety, I'm gonna feel less worthy, oh, they didn't like me, or they didn't want to spend time with me. Well, that becomes an issue. That is where the expectation becomes toxic. And that is where what we can say, oh, she or he or whatever betrayed me, which there is no such a thing. So the very first work that we need to do, we need to work on ourselves. That's the very first thing. We need to look at it, we say, where is it that we are stuck, and where is it that's coming from? Where did I get that expectation and that audacity to expect things from everybody? Why? Why do I have that? What is it makes me so special that I need to have A, B, C, D, all the way to Z, and if it doesn't work out, the world is a bad place to be? Who comes up with these things? We have no control and no power over anything external. We just have control and power to certain degrees for our own reactions and thoughts and processes. And that is, even some of us can do that, because for the most part, we still have to work, do a lot of inner work to be aware of what are the gravitational pulls all the time within ourselves, from our past, from our those identities that we have created. And that is the work that we need to do. And once we do that, there will be no betrayal. The concept of betrayal will not exist, because betrayal, by definition, is basically is not meeting expectation. That's the betrayal. You did not meet my expectation of who or what you need to be, therefore you betrayed me. And because of my whole entire identity was attached to that, to you, to it, therefore the world is horrible, you're the horrible person, and I'm gonna hate you forever or hate it forever or whatever it is, and I'm gonna just be a bitter and resentful person. No, that's not how we live. It's really, really horrifically sad. Instead of you let go of expectations. That's what inner work is every day, that I do a little bit to understand and be aware of my own internal dialogues. I want to challenge you to make sure to look at your life, and if you have seen betrayal that has happened to you, I need you to pay attention to yourself first and see the times that you betrayed the world, people, friends, family, neighbors. Have that understanding and empathy about the other person that whom you think in your perspective betrayed you, and how you can undo, break the chain of this suffering that you could call comes from the energy of betrayal. I hope you found this useful. I love sharing my thoughts and my learning and my journey with you. Please leave a comment, your thoughts below. You may agree, you may disagree. That's the whole thing. This is my journey and the journey that I've seen and read. And oftentimes these themes show up over and over again. Take care. Until next time, be well.